Hey, and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. With Module 25, we're getting a new trial, Gzemnid's Reliquary. And we are going to be getting a standard version and a master version. Now, the devs have posted a blog where they cover the details of this trial. The normal version will be available to all players, at least who have 30,000 item level and higher, and you'll be able to access it via the random trial queue. It shall be thrown in there along with all the rest. And that's a normal trial, should be fairly easy to beat. But again, we all know their reputation and their scaling in terms of difficulty could be way off. My group had no trouble beating it, but we are a very coordinated group with all those team buffs, etc. And the master version will require that, the strongest adventurers in the realm and to have 80,000 item level or higher. Now you can go queue privately and go in at 75,000 item level. As a healer or a tank, you can probably get away with that. A DPS, you really want to be pushing the maximum of your damage and thus having a max out build. You should be at least at 83,000 item level. Now this trial, you can read through a bit of the storyline here. Basically, Gzemnid's trying to get the Eye of Odron and yeah, we'll be facing off us adventurers. Now if we manage to beat him, he can give us these different weapons for the different classes. I have gone and posted a video covering them and showcasing them, so you can check that out if you want to see what they look like for every single class there. But here's a quick peek of the Bard, the Paladin, the Cleric, the Barbarian, and the Ranger. Now, this trial will also drop a mythic set, a mythic artifact set. So you have the belt item, the artifact itself, and then also the neck item. And I've gone and made a video also on that, covering it here. You can see it, the new mythic artifact set, comparing it versus alternative options. And unfortunately, it's very underwhelming. You can read the bonus that it can provide there. The artifact, on the other hand, will be like best in slot as a secondary. So that's pretty solid there. Now, ultimately, there will be a series of achievements like we've seen in the past with Tiamat, Master Templar Spider, and Demogorgon, which you can go and do in order to get a fashion item along with an exclusive title. Now, these series of achievements you'll be able to track and take note of in-game when you go to your journal. Just here, go to the dungeon, go show available. You can also get rid of the ones you've earned there. And down the bottom, we can see that we have something to behold. And this is where we need to complete these series of achievements. Again, you can find those scattered throughout this list as well. If you want to find Gzemnid's Reliquary Master alphabetically, it will be at G. There we go. And you can find those, but ultimately I've made a little picture here for you guys with the collection of all the achievements and what you need to be doing. So something to behold, you need to complete these 7 different achievements. First of all, you just need to complete it. Then you got to complete it without anybody dying, although you can do all of these in any order, they're just listed here. Then you need to complete it within 12 minutes, and then you need to complete it without anybody getting hit from the artifacts. Now, as far as I'm aware, the artifacts are those mirrors that get put on the wall. I got blasted by one right here. Normally, they'll kill you if you're not a tank. And so you need to complete the entire trial without anybody ever getting hit by those. I think that should be very doable. We've been getting tries where they don't hit us and then it's not any problem. You will generally always be prompted by a voice line, as we can see on the left here. Dance for me, mortal puppets. And then if you wait a bit, you can see the artifacts there on the wall, and we all move to the safe zone and the rest of the area gets blasted. So you're just going to have to play that perfectly and nobody getting hit by those, and you'll get that achievement. Shouldn't be too tricky, especially after a bit of practice. And you got to beat it on minimum item level. So when you go and queue up to the trial, you go to private, you need to go to match options, and you need to go reduce item level to minimum, and that way you'll be set at that item level of the trial. Just be aware, all of these achievements, you got to be doing the master version to beat. So with minimum item level, the minimum is 80,000. So you won't lose a lot of item level, all things considered. If I'm like only 82,000 item level, scaled down to 80,000, that shouldn't be a problem. If you're beating it already, it should not be much trouble to beat it then with a little bit less. Then you need Boss Bonanza. And that particularly means you have to beat the trial basically 4 times. Each time when you go to the third phase, you get 2 bosses, and there's 4 sets, 4 combinations. Here we have Halaster and Palavorthine. You can get a set of Zariel and Atropol. You can get Tiamat and Demogorgon. And then you can also get Velindra and Stormwald. And lastly, we have Conservator. Complete Gzemnid's Reliquary without destroying any artifacts. And what this means is when you go on to phase 2 and you're fighting Gzemnid himself, you will get a particular mechanic for the tanks, whereupon everybody receives these debuffs. Right here you can see we have a blue one and a purple one. The tanks have the job then to remove one of the 2. With having the purple one, we have basically if anybody dies, they cannot revive. So you would have to complete it deathless if you got the purple one. And it's a bit of RNG. Basically, if you have enough damage, you can phase before you get another set of 2 artifacts. And what the tanks do, like me right here, is we go near that artifact, and when we get this red area and it bursts while we stand over the artifact, it destroys the artifact, removing the debuff. As you can see, we now only have the blue one, which basically reduces stamina and healer resource, which we are now then stuck on having to deal and complete the trial with that debuff. Whereas if you want to complete this achievement, Conservator, we would have to beat the trial then with both those artifacts, destroying neither of them. So it can be quite challenging if you get a terrible combination and like having no revives, and then you're kind of a bit screwed because you would have to complete the entire thing deathless. I mean, if you're going for deathless anyway, then why not? And people will get good at the trial, learn all the mechanics, and deathless should be a possible thing. When you go on to phase 5, you will again get more artifacts. Of course, it will depend on your DPS, but usually you have enough. And you can see we got another 3 artifacts this time. And we have then a choice to destroy 2 of them, leaving 1. Again, with that achievement, you would have to destroy none of them. So you would be left with, at this point, 5 debuffs. Here we group up for the double hypo, and then us tanks need to move to the given artifacts like here, and we're going to go then destroy them. You get the red area under you, and then you let it burst. Both tanks should get the red area this time, as again we got 3 debuffs, and we can choose to destroy 2 of them. Again, if you want to get Conservator, you're going to have to get good. You're going to have to get a decent RNG and be able to beat it by then having 5 debuffs by the end of the trial. Can be a bit rough. Probably the achievement I think people will most struggle with, especially when they get that purple debuff, which will require them to complete the entire thing deathless. Deathless already is going to be pretty tricky, especially with the RNG, I guess, of the first phase in particular, but at least it's only the first phase. Then there still is some RNG of like people killing the cubes and so on. You'll see. People are already struggling to beat this thing in the first place. Beating it on deathless, that's another story. So ultimately, that is it for Gzemnid's Reliquary. Basically, the ultimate meta achievement that you can obtain. And yes, you will have received this cloak. This cape, which will have these eyes floating around you. You can see that again via the blog here as well. And I assume they'll have like animations swirling around you with then this glowy cloak. So good luck with that if that's what you're going to try and obtain. I think it's great they add these. Something to do beyond just completing the trial. Something to prove your skill and worthiness in Neverwinter. Now, there will not be a lot of people who can achieve this. Of course, over time when we learn mechanics, the trial will get easier. And so this will be at least something people can strive towards. Very nice to have a cloak that then every class can wear and show it off. Along with then the title. You will be getting a title which will be called Something to Behold as per the name of the achievement. So you can run around and brag with that. If you see anybody with either of those, the cape or the title, you know they are definitely one of the top tier players in Neverwinter, unless they have friends in high places which manage to carry them through it. I mean, not a lot of carrying you can do when Deathless is involved or completing the trial within a certain amount of time. I mean, you can to a certain extent just have the guy play super safe and fill him with survivability benefits, and they'll probably get through it a bit easier. But that is it. Good luck. Massive thank you again to all of these channel members for their continued support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.